So once you understood that, you have to use the telephone in relation to the socket and to also to uku in relation to terminal 3326 and 3324. In time, once you have cellular or cellular, understanding of the condom is to reverse itself into the nutrition of the magnesium in relation to the ice cream, and also to share into a certain amount of gas in relation to the next gravity. If you have the next gravity in relation to the time sharing, you can also program into the design way and understanding of the corrects before and after. You can police guard the share. In that way, the understanding of a conclusion is the element of the inflow technology, because networking into the area of three faces and also to understand two faces, which is the preview of FACE and FHASE. Once you design that way, you need to know the third revision of a movement that is for Buddha, the second word or the third word. I know I work a lot, and later on when I come up with the right words or the proverb or whatever you call it, later on I don't know which one is which. So it's up to you to calculate that thing. But anyway, understanding of life is based upon the functioning of expertise, and to realize the Greek Orthodox. What am I doing here? Is it a gun or thinking? So, in relation to meditation or the Mongolian beef, or understanding the magnesium, is where will you live your life in the next space station. I know a lot of things, but in time we will get there in relation to the deploy. Understanding of thinking is thoughts in relation to Oko, and understanding Ong in relation. Well, Ong is the red face character, God, whatever you call it, but his name is Ong. I don't know his name or whatever you call it, but it's Ong. Understanding of the serum is the implexing degree. Yes, once you have the civil war in relation to the prehistoric gram of history documenting the report medically partition, the next goal. Gotcha. I hope you understand that thoughts. It's called a thoughts on. I hope you understand. When you network that in relation to a movie maker, and also to understand the compliance for its maturity, is to open the noun of approval, and Mariah Carey versus Earth Show. Earth Show in relation to documentary. Fossil intake itself into the next Kulu. In this way, the way you act is what is a creative encore, assassinate into the seed DOS, bring all. When you function that correctly, you can also think into the next pattern in your delaying to departure the Qantas airline, and to Emirate into the next Abric. You got to know how to act in relation to an acting career, and also to function the char, which is 3328 and 246829446, aplex, the grid of what do you call this? Blank. See? The more you practice in relation to lesson, when it goes blank, you can tell by your thinking pattern. You got to ask Dr. Chris Zion. Yes. And next time I will case study the Thunderbolt in my computer system. There's a Thunderbolt. Next time I will case study that one to help the Greek Orthodox. so that when you have sharing a certain amount of parts and also to build the technology, you will be balanceable in relation to your what? See? What? Blank. In relation to your what? Blank. When it's blank, what are you gonna do in the next 3 minutes or half an hour or 10 hours or 24 hours the next day in relation to 7-Eleven? See, I act like do I? Maybe. Only he knows, I don't bloody know. Anyway, the element of the infoload technology is also to understand the chicken feet. Ugh! I don't like chicken feet. A joke is a joke, but in time, once you share the comedian in relation to your acting career, the provision of a aplex and also the opening and apple is for chaos in relation to the compass and to understand the latitude or ingredients. Next time, long time my friend, in relation to its longitude and magnesium to gem the next short story and to CC the aplex of the plus and also to grid into the next decimal in time. Names and names and names. Gotcha. In relation to understanding its dietary is to when you travel to the next moon. Yes, you can also have the proper diet because based upon that I know the gravity very well in relation to once you have achieved the moon, because once you get there you know what's gonna happen. What if you shubu, your skin shubu all the way and you have nothing to share for first aid kit and to understand the dong in Vietnam? Once you understood that, you need to get parts and parts in relation to the apex and to grid the next decimal of path evening into a psychology and to understand thinking. The difference between thinking pattern, thoughts, you got to add. Huh? What? Who? Huh? I don't know. What? Blank 55. Caluzino. The way you do psychology, Caluzino and Judith Andre, is to actually psychologically have even the measurement of your thinking pattern to blanket. And when you blanket, what is a blanket in relation to stocking the Wall Street and also to share into the next blanket for safety? It's called blanket for safety. Safety or safety. For safety. Safety is the network of the coup of the right fur for Viking and to understand the histogram of its formula, because in relation to being human. See? Good. See? Shadows of tree, Buddhism, of thinking. I'm not even thinking. I'm just not doing anything. Am I thinking? No. You got to understand the lesson. I know he's God, but I don't know his name. I just call him lesson. But the way you think, you got to somehow pattern the orchestra in relation to your heart and the way you feel. So when you feel the way your heart, you can also wisdom the area of the flamingo and to air show the grid of the army. Because The aplex is actually in taken the Phoenix system and the Pegasus. But in relation to the Pegasus, the understanding of the grid is to formulate into the interval. Once you even out the ordering system of the balanceable amount of money, you can also order the decimal of 55.3 and 55.6. Once you order that, you can formulate into the next aplex or plastic in relation to Gene Newell and also to understand the grid system. Once you returned the grey box, the understanding of the grid is to decimal the ordering system. If you can reverse the balanceable amount of centralizing in relation to the deploy, the understanding of kinetics is a working condition of the Phoenix and to also outburst the next grid. Once you share into the Thunderbolt by Greek Orthodox, I think that will be his name in relation to the Greek Orthodox, Thunderbolt. Sorry, it's just in return home, you need to develop the kinetics and in the relay of a deploy. Once you compound the balanceable amount of income protection and also to share into King Arthur, message the compliance of AA36 and AA362 4126 4821 4842 4821 kinetics AA31 AA26 1824 2846 2841 kinetics 1821 1826 1824 1826 6641 PP31 PP36 PP41 PP56 PP54 aplex grid signal testmentation AA24 2841 testmentation AA41 AA46 2841 4829 aplex grid 2 non-program of ECA ego appliance Asasi grid 2348 grid 248 6146 2941 fortune ball maybe simple fortune ball fortune teller simple Wizard of Oz in relation to chronicle. But the more complex it gets, the more you enjoy. It's just in a matter of time. Understanding of complexity is the greedy system. Greedy, not greedy, but greedy in relation to the skyline, to share the modification and to balance the needed in relation to the aplex and also to undo the soft amount of design. Once you share the network of Area 52, the understanding of a grid system is to formulate into the instrument of income protection. Because once you return home, the area of expertise, you will realize the decimal of a formula and to outburst the sun star. Yes, in return, the next galaxy is the 5th revision of your first aid kit by nutrition. But don't forget, happy days. Oh, happy days. You got to ask Jesus or the Pope. I think the Pope. The Pope knows more about Jesus than me. I just call him Jesus. Oh, Pope, whatever. Sorry. See? Oh, see? You got to ask Calozino what his thoughts in relation to thinking. You have to ask him. So when he makes an appointment, I will help Calozino to make an appointment to understand the thinking way and the thinking pattern and the thoughts of the brain impairment based on the hemisphere of the left frontal lobe reaction in relation to the battery exchange and exhaustion in relation to the engine 33282641 aplex 2241 2862 and 2241 and 2246 and 2146 and 2241 and 2246 and 2543 and 2241 and 2246 2842 2821 2642 2162 2159 2146 2841 2162 2143 2158 162, 1824, 1862, aplex, 12, 182, 182, 182, 1824, Wokaku. Good. On. Good. So, in relation to the non-element of the inflow technology, you got to understand the way your thoughts is, and also to understand the decimal of 332826162 and 2241, blanking 55.36824126482146 in Joyce, juice, orange, apple, juice, raspberry, grapefruit, etc. in relation to Jamie. The nutrition, understanding the food. For baby food, maybe. But where is the gravity in relation to the magnesium or kinetics by Thunderbolt, Greek Orthodox? Enjoy. I'm full now, but enjoy. So, I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna have a smoke. I just had a quick smoke. But anyway, understanding the network of the area is in what way we formulate into the expertise if you realize the revision to support the doll and also to partition the message of the compound is for all compound. Pillar, caterpillar or pillar. Reworking the condition of the next satellite in relation to your grid. You got to know the element of the design. In this way, the beam of this watt is what in relation to energy. To rework the condition of your pathology is to understand the network of area 2382 and 2641, which is AAK, in relation to the aplex, and to grid the next decimal. To function the expertise is to realize the way you intake the assassin and to massively destroy the enemy, which may be rocks in the gravity of out of the space. Could be. It's just a sci-fi movie. Yes. But once you do that, the listener can also make one of the most beautiful movies in this world. To grid into Star Wars and understanding the advertisement, enrollment, application form 66.621.48, magnitude of 1148 and 1134 dot JSON in relation to the deploy. Because in time, once you network the area of expertise, you will realize the decimal of 2241 and 2246. It's just in time, once you network the area of expertise, you will realize the next procure of the element of infrared technology. The infrared technology is based upon the concentration of the material and to reverse the mirror of a wall and to exchange the rate core. The rate core is based upon the deepest sea of this planet and to equal the element of the infrared technology. Because once you outburst the KK, you need to understand the element of this posture in relation to Guanxi Yin Posa. Because once you comply the network of the area, to understand the gravity, you need to understand the balanceable amount of gravon in relation to Mother Mary and also to food the condition of nutrition for the first aid kit and to understand the security code by Li Drew Aka by their mother. But in return, the vivacity of the assault is also to wisdom the tooth of a thinking design. In that way, Carlo Zeno, the petition of professor, is to compound the element of the inflow before your happy teas on a happy day. Oh, happy days when Jesus. So, is finished now. Enjoy, Jamie, my gay friend. Enjoy. Whatever I do here is the bash. No. Just kinetics part of. And it's not called act naturally or organic by Google. It's just thinking. But you have to ask Carlo what thinking is in relation to what I just did. Okay? Catch you next time, my friend. Don't forget on.